The most important iPhone vs Android phone battle is set for 2024. This will decide the future of the entire smartphone industry. Apple vs Samsung, iPhone 16 vs Galaxy S25. We've seen leaks of the S25 Ultra, and it's looking incredible. But there's more to this launch than just another flagship phone. There are some secret plans at play here. What Samsung needs to do to beat Apple in 2024 is not what we think. The S25 Ultra will be a great phone with better hardware than the iPhone 16. It could have a 3x better camera than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but that alone won't be enough. Samsung has to do 3 things right to finally take the crown from Apple. And if they pull off these 3 things, I genuinely believe they can sell more units than Apple in 2024. Let's start with no one, which is going to be price. Ever since the iPhone 15 launch, Apple has given us quite the shock. Their new entry-level iPhone is now $799. You go up to the Pro series, and it starts at $999, which means Apple has killed their value proposition, especially in the US market. Sure, in other countries outside the US, this is going to be even worse. And here's where Samsung can take advantage. If they keep the base price of the S25 at $799 or even $849 and keep the Plus at $999, it will make them look very competitive versus Apple. At that point, people will have to ask themselves, why pay $1,000 for an iPhone when you can get the same features and even more at a cheaper price? Or why would you want to pay $799 for a base iPhone when you can pay the same amount of money and get a way better experience? Now, of course, there are people who will always go for iPhones because they like the ecosystem. But those people don't care about the price anyway, so it's not really a big deal for them. For everyone else, price matters. And Samsung needs to take advantage of this. They need to present a compelling case to Apple users, showing them how they can get more for less. If you're wondering why Apple increased the prices, it's all because of one thing, and that is AI. Apple needs more money to fuel their AI development. In fact, Apple's overall revenue growth in the last quarter was only 2%, but their AI-related expenses were over $10 billion. They have to find more revenue somehow, and that's where Samsung can take advantage. Instead of going full-on with expensive AI features, Samsung should focus on giving the consumers value for money with the right balance between software and hardware features. Of course, they need to implement AI properly into their phones, but they shouldn't be spending billions of dollars on it while making the phone. Expensive Samsung has already made a statement saying that the S25 series will come with One UI 6.1, meaning it will have all the generative AI features like ChatGPT built in. Plus, they'll probably add a lot more exclusive features on top of that. That brings us to number 2, which is the One UI 6.1 software experience. Samsung can beat Apple by offering something that Apple doesn't, which is customization. People love customizing their phones. Even on iOS 17, we have seen users complaining about not being able to customize their lock screens, home screen the way they want. And this is where Samsung can take advantage. If they focus on bringing a ton of customization options, while also implementing the AI features that Apple is offering, it can make their software more compelling than Apple's software. But to make this happen, Samsung needs to improve 2 big things. Number 1 is the performance. As much as I love One UI, it does feel a little bit sluggish compared to iOS and even compared to Pixel UI. While Pixel UI is also based on Android, it feels much smoother than One UI. Now, some people will say it's because of the Tensor G3 chip, but that's not really true. It's because of optimization. Google has done a fantastic job when it comes to optimizing the Pixel software, something that Samsung needs to learn. We know that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 4 Galaxy chip is going to be the most optimized chip ever. Samsung has shown off a glimpse of its potential, and it's looking very promising. But that alone won't be enough. Samsung needs to prove that their optimizations will last long-term through software updates. That is something they haven't been able to do in the past. Which brings us to the third most important thing that Samsung needs to do to beat Apple, which is giving the iPhone users reasons to switch. Up until now, we haven't had many reasons to switch from an iPhone to an Android phone. Yes, Android phones have gotten better, but they haven't offered anything that an iPhone couldn't already do. But with the iPhone 16, we have our first real reason to switch. Apple has removed the physical SIM tray, meaning if you're switching from an older iPhone to the 16 series, you will have to use eSIM. Now, eSIM might seem like a good idea to Apple, but it's actually a huge pain for the customers. Not only you have to rely on your carrier to activate this for you, but it also takes away the ability to switch carriers easily. A lot of people actually like switching carriers whenever they see a better deal. But now, because of eSIM, they kind of forced to stay with the carrier that they with unless they want to go through this whole activation process again. This is where Samsung can take advantage. They can launch special promotions for the S25 series, allowing users to instantly switch from their old iPhone to the S25 series with no activation hassle. All they have to do is just pop in the SIM and they're good to go. This is something that will help them gain a lot of customers because for a lot of people, this activation process can be a major turnoff. As much as Apple is a great brand, they've made some decisions that can cost them dearly. And Samsung needs to take advantage of this. And if they do these 3 things right, I honestly believe they can finally dethrone Apple from the top and become the #1 phone brand once again. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about these 3 steps that Samsung needs to take to beat Apple? Are they going to do it? Because if they don't, Apple will once again come back strong with the iPhone 17 series. We've got some inside details on what Apple is planning for the iPhone 17 lineup. According to this latest leak, the iPhone 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max will feature a brand new titanium build, along with a new rose gold color. Apple is calling this titanium pink. It's said to be similar to the titanium pink Apple Watch Ultra. This change to titanium makes sense as Apple wants to reduce the weight of the iPhone while also making them stronger. Titanium is the perfect material for that. Unfortunately, this material will only be limited to the Pro models, meaning the standard iPhone 17 and 17 Plus will stick with the aluminum build. Now, Apple is also planning to introduce a new capture button, just like the action button on the Sony Xperia phones. This capture button will allow users to quickly launch the camera app. When double-pressed, it will launch the actual camera UI ready to capture photos and videos. And when triple-pressed, it will likely start recording a video. It's a pretty cool idea. I'm not sure how useful it's going to be in real-life scenarios, but hey, we'll see how it goes. So that's all the latest news. Let me know your thoughts about the iPhone 17 early leaks. And yeah, do you think Samsung can finally beat Apple next year with the S25 series? Drop your thoughts below in the comments. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.